Capitol Hill to Wall Street. This is Politics and Profits with your host, Rick Amato.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Rick Amato. It's time for Politics and Profits.
We follow the trends on Capitol Hill that lead to the profits on Wall Street. We expose the hard facts of what your elected officials are doing when you're not looking. And we show you how you can profit from their politics. The American dream is alive and well, and you can be proud to call America your home. And now, it's Rick Amato.
All right, welcome to Politics and Profits, everyone. Of course, this is the show where we cover money, politics, and current events. And joining me at this time out of New York is someone whose name is synonymous with money and politics and current events. Someone who's built a reputation over the years, having great contacts, great sources, and moving the markets. As I say, joining me from New York is senior correspondent for Fox Business News, Charlie Gasparino. Charlie, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Charlie, one of the big stories that you're following, you've been tweeting about, is that Val Demings, Congresswoman from Florida, looks like she may be moving up the list and being a favorite on Joe Biden's list of VP candidates over Kamala Harris. What can you tell us?
Well, listen, this is still a moving target. I'm not Joe Biden. It's whoever he feels most comfortable with I've been told, will get the job because of the events, the racial unrest of the last couple of weeks. I reported earlier that Klobuchar had almost zero chance and that she was, all but taking herself out. She announced that last night. And so it's likely to be, it's going to be a woman because he said it. With trying to unify African-American voters, it's probably going to be a woman of color. And the two leading women of color in this who are seriously under consideration right now are Val Demings and Kamala Harris. The negative on Kamala Harris, just from inside, excuse me, that's hay fever. It's not anything else. I've been running a lot lately. The negatives for Kamala is that she was a prosecutor and a pretty tough on crime prosecutor. And, they're worried not just worried about opposition from the left bring that up. They are actually worried that the Trump people will bring that up, that they will say, okay, you're basically amid all this that we're talking about, you're basically bringing in someone who, helped incarcerate African Americans at high levels.
And I would
think that's the knock on her. Now, she has much better name recognition, stature within the party. She just raised a ton of money for Biden. She's a senator. So if you think Biden may not last through his term because he's old, that's out there. I'm not making that up. And she could theoretically, because she understands the government, she's been there at a national level, at a prominent national level for a long time. She can basically take over. Day one, Val Demings is a congresswoman. She was, I believe, the police chief for Orlando. Attractive candidate, smart. She's got a lot of positives when you talk to Democrats. I have a Democratic source who's always thought she was the best one for the job because she's that sharp. She's that appealing. She's a police chief. She wasn't a prosecutor, so it's hard to hang prosecutions on her, So there you have it. That's the positives and the negatives. Demings has a real shot from what I understand right now.
Well, I will tell you, just hearing what you said, I did not realize she's a former police chief from Orlando. And, being a woman of color and a former police chief, I think that's a strong combination.
It is, but the national recognition does matter.
It does.
To an extent. Kamala just raised a ton of money. She's got very close ties to national figures. The other thing that's positive for Demings is that she could maybe help win Florida. That's a big state. If the Democrats win Florida, it might be game over for Trump.
Yeah.
They're leading in the polls right now in Florida. So, which is, it trends Republican, but it's often goes Democrat. It's a highly contested state. It's going to be more contested as the years go on, as New Yorkers flee the mess that's up here. The high taxes, not to mention, downtown Manhattan being looted and vandalized while the police almost stood by. It's people. I can tell you, people are leaving Manhattan in droves, and the place that they're going is the South, and a lot of them are going to Florida because it doesn't have a state income tax. That's a big state right now in terms of politics. So, and California, where Kamala Harris comes from, is a lock for the Democrats. So that's where we are right now. But again, I've been told this is who Biden feels comfortable with. It's going to come down to some personal connection. So who knows what's going to happen next week? I can just tell you, as of now, people say that don't count her out, fighting chance. You might even give her a little leg up based on what I said, but this is still fluid.
Very interesting perspective, Charlie. Let me ask you your opinion. I mean, you're known for your contacts, your relationships. Is the Trump White House, based upon who you talk to and respect and have credibility in their opinions, is it as chaotic and as much turmoil as the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC are constantly reporting?
Listen, there is a significant, I don't know if chaotic is the right way to put it. I mean, they do stuff, it gets done, there's meetings. It is significantly, it is a tough place to work, and it's a tough place to manage the president. There is no doubt about that his advisors will tell you privately he's got some real character issues and some real flaws in terms of how he manages stuff. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I think when you read the John Bolton stuff, I mean, what underwhelmed me about all this is that I kind of know it already. They would like him to stop tweeting stupid things.
Right.
Okay. And by the way, we're not talking about tweeting about baseball scores. I mean, he says some really outrageous stuff on that Twitter page. Yeah. The stuff about Joe Scarborough, I thought it was, just so out there. It made no sense. And they want him to stop doing that. They would like him to go maybe on vacation, keep his mouth shut, and let the economy improve, which it is improving. See, that's the whole thing. While it's hard to say it's chaotic when there is actually a decent economic agenda being put forward. The Kudlows of the world, the Mnuchins of the world, they're actually doing stuff. Mike Pompeo is a very competent person. He's actually doing stuff as Secretary of State. The chaos involves the mannerisms, and the management style of the president. And, the Journal had a great editorial today about the John Bolton book, which, it was on one hand saying, and this is what I think most people feel, that particularly if you're right of center, which I guess I am, it's scary, some of the stuff he pointed out about Trump. It's probably not a good, you shouldn't be kissing and telling. You kind of knew what you were getting going in there. There's no one who didn't know that Donald Trump is wacky, that goes in there or has a unique management style. Shouldn't bring it out yet today. But, there is some really troubling stuff in there. And they were saying, it basically said this is the sort of choice for Americans. Do Trump's personal flaws, bizarre management style, is that worse than the fact that Joe Biden has literally given in, and these are their words, to what they described as the Jacobin left, the far left. I mean, he really is flirting with defunding the police, something he would never do in the past.
Oh my God.
He really is flirting with economic policies that Bernie Sanders and AOC advocate. That is the choice that I think Americans have. It's not a great choice, to be honest with you, but that is a choice. And it may come out that they would rather have a Looney Tune who's not a socialist running the show, particularly if the economy gets better. And listen, we're saying better than how bad it was because they shut down the economy. I mean, there are certain sectors that aren't going to come back for a while. But if you could show vast improvement, which the numbers are starting to indicate vast improvement, you could show that unemployment falls below 10%, which it's heading in that way, particularly before the election.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, he might have a shot, but it is a choice. I mean, he does some really stupid things. I don't know how. Listen, I get criticized on Twitter for pointing out that he says dumb stuff about Joe Scarborough, and that's scary. If you read the excerpts about Bolton, I mean, he was literally trading. He was literally saying to the Chinese, "It's okay to build concentration camps as long as you support me and help me out here."
Wow.
It's just that stuff that's what comes out of his mouth all the time.
He strikes me as someone who's
that is a real sort of lift for a president. I've never heard that before. It put in that stark terms. Listen, they all play games, but this is at another level.
And he strikes me as someone who's been a self-employed entrepreneur, solo entrepreneur his whole life, controls everything, and that doesn't end. That's my interpretation. Charlie, we're out of time. Appreciate you joining us. Very good information. I want to tell our viewers, I love this. You describe yourself as God, country, pull-ups, and vodka in that order. Less than 30 seconds, I'll give you the final word.
Well, the vodka is in there because I like one vodka at the end of the night after a long day.
All right, Charlie Gasparino, look forward to your reporting on Fox Business. Look forward to having you come back here sometime in the future. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, Rick, anytime.
All right, back after this.
Politics and Profits with Rick Amato is brought to you by Liberatory Accounting, the IRS problem solvers. To find out how Liberatory Accounting can help you, call 877-6-SOLVER. That's 877-6-SOLVER.